Hey comic fans, Dave here at Ground Zero. It's Wednesday morning. That means it is time for another weekly look at what's new on the shelves at your favorite local comic book store. Now, it's also the first day of December. We have almost made it, people. 11 down and only 1 month to go. Then we can revel in the obvious goodness that is going to be 2022. I can't wait to see what the next year has in store for us. And it's headed for us like a freight train of destiny, bound to be a tick quote somehow. Either way, that light at the end of the tunnel is coming for us. But before it gets here, we have several more weeks of new comics, beginning this week with some DC annuals. Now, I know you're thinking, DC annuals, Dave, that's a summer thing. And yeah, it is. It's normally a summer thing, but DC discovered to their horror that there was a handful of titles they had not yet done annuals for, and they thought, hey, it's probably summer in Texas. And they would not be wrong. So either way, we start with a quartet of Batman family titles. Batman himself gets his first and presumably only annual of 2021, although he could squeeze out another one this month if he wanted to because he's Batman, and you would buy it. As you will Batman Detective Comics, because it's the 2021 annual and it's still 2021, so you've got a few weeks. As you do for Nightwing and Robin, both Batman family and related titles, so there you go, whole bunch of Batman family goodness to get in extra annuals for 2021. Better late than never. And you're just going to say, but Dave, come on, DC is more than just Batman? Yeah, okay, yeah, somewhat. So we get the Justice League Dark Annual, which is interesting because there is not currently a Justice League Dark title, but they've had a backup running in the Justice League series, and it concludes here. So if you liked that particular run, want to know how it plays out, congratulations, you have to buy the annual. As you probably do for Wonder Woman, for one reason or another. Wonder Woman's actually picked up lately, and so now we get a 2021 annual just in time. Better late than never. First trivia question of the day. I've got a couple for you today. The first one is, when is the final issue also the first issue? Well, that might very well be Fear State Omega, because you'll notice it's issue number 1, but it's also titled Omega, which, clue people, does not mean number 1. Quite the opposite, in fact. This wraps up the Fear State storyline, but it's also number 1, so if you're a number 1 collector, you got to buy it too. DC gets to have their Omega, and number 1 it too. Okay, also we get from DC just Gotham City Villains. This is the anniversary special giant. Not entirely sure what it's an anniversary of. Maybe it's the anniversary of Evil. I don't know. Evil's been around for several election cycles now, so perhaps it's an anniversary of that. Whatever, we do get actually something pretty interesting here in that we get a Penguin story written by Danny DeVito, who obviously played him in the 1990s Batman Returns movie. So he's in here writing this one, as are a bunch of other writers like G. Willow Wilson, several others that are not necessarily as well known for their acting ability, but it's here and it's $10. So DC says, hey, it's $10, it's got to be good. You shall buy this. Last DC title I'm going to mention is Action Comics. I like to mention Action Comics because I really love the grand old titles from DC. You know, the original ones that started it all. They're still going today, all up into the thousands. And Action is one of those. We not only get the Clark Kent Superman facing off with Mongol, we get a backup with the Martian Manhunter. I really, really like the Martian Manhunter, but he's not one of those characters that really can support his own book on a regular basis. So I say bravo DC, do more backups for things like that. Put him in a prestigious spot like Action Comics. Buy this book so they will do more of those things. I insist. Moving over to Marvel, we get a duo of second issues. First off, Venom by Ram V and Al Ewing. Obviously, they are following in the footsteps of Donny Cates, who took this character into the stratosphere. But their first issue flew off the stands. Everybody seemed to want a copy, or 2, or more if they could get it. So it did really well. Everybody seemed to like it. And so now this second issue is here. Venom drops the big number 2. As does Phoenix Song Echo. This one, however, I have not been reading, so I really don't know anything about it, except that it's good enough to make it to a second issue, and it's here now. Second trivia question of the day coming up, because we get to Avengers number 50. Now, this is a big deal because it's not only issue number 50, it's also issue number 750. 750, that's a pretty big anniversary, so Marvel is going to celebrate it by taking more of your money. So our trivia question is, if this is issue number 50 and issue number 750, what would issue number 250 of this series be? That's right, it would be a miracle, because there's no way this is going to issue number 250. They will restart it 8, 9, 10, 11 times before then. So there you have it. But it will hit issue 1000. Trust me on that one. Just not 250. Two more from Marvel that I will mention. We get the final issue of this particular series of Daredevil. It's issue number 36, but it's going to set the stage for the big Devil's Reign crossover, which promises to absolutely upend the life of Matt Murdock and Elektra and everybody else in the Marvel Universe, and set the stage for the upcoming Woman Without Fear series starring Elektra, who's already been kind of starring in Daredevil as Daredevil. But either way, it will start a new number one. I believe it's also written by Chip Zdarsky, who has been doing a great job with this book. So if you haven't been reading it, well, they're going to start it over, so you can jump right in. Also, Devil's Reign, because it's kind of a deal, and it's coming out, I think, next week, probably. It's coming out very soon, so if not next week, it's on its way. So Devil's Reign from Marvel, buy it. Fantastic Four, no real reason to mention this book except that I love the Fantastic Four, and it does have She-Hulk in it. She-Hulk is very much a thing right now, so if you don't normally buy Fantastic Four, you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's got She-Hulk, I must buy this book. And there you go. Moving over to the indies, that's always where my love generally tends to fall. Not a particularly stellar crop of indies this week, not like past weeks, but we do get several different books. First off, we get a trio of second issues. Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, number 2. This is, I don't know, the 25th or 30th Hellboy number 2. So, but everybody loves Hellboy. I love Hellboy. You love Hellboy. So another new issue. Also, Hell Cop, going from Hellboy to Hell Cop. Brian Haberlin's new, but not exactly new series is out, and it's second issue, so it's here. As is the second issue of Magic Order number 2. So that's Magic Order 2, number 2, from Mark Millar. I don't know what else to say about this book other than Mark Millar sells, because everybody knows his stuff is going to be up in a movie at some point. So we not only get this one, that is the second issue of the second series of Magic Order, we also get a second Mark Millar title, first issue of King of Spies. Now, little known trivia here, because, well, I haven't told you yet. I took this book home because I intended to read it, and that way I could tell you if it was good or not, but I just didn't get to it. So either way, I can show you the cover. It's got kind of a snazzy cover. I like the cover. And it's Mark Millar, who is definitely a thing, because he insists that you join up on his website, www.mrmarkmillar.com. He's Mr. to you, unless you're a Hollywood producer, in which case you can call him whatever you want, because he's certainly the golden child in Hollywood these days. So 2 more Mark Millar titles. Didn't read that one, but I did actually find time to read this one, Animal Castle. I liked this book. I actually did, but I'm not going to recommend it to everybody because it is very much not like superhero books. It's barnyard animals suffering through all the same equality. There's a lot of heavy-handed analogy here, but that's okay because it's heavy-handed for a reason. If you can't handle it with people, well, maybe it'll be more palatable dealing with animals. So all sorts of inequities in their particular barnyard, and revolution is coming. That may not sound great, but it actually is pretty cool. It's got kind of nice art. It definitely pounds home the pathos. So a book for some of you, I'm going to recommend. Come in and talk to me, and I'll decide if this is a good book for you. But it's a good book for some of you. Animal Castle, brand new, something different in comics. And frankly, I think we need more different stuff. So I read Animal Castle, but I did not read Evil Ernie number 1 because, standards. Either way, everything old is new again. Evil Ernie is certainly old. He was very much a child of the 90s. You don't get a whole lot more 90s than Evil Ernie, except possibly for Lady Death. Either way, he's got his new series out, and for those of you who want it, we've got it. But I'm not going to read it. And the last one that I'll probably mention as far as the indie floppies is Spawn. This is issue 324, I think. 324. Everything old is new again. For Spawn, his motto is life begins at 30. He's actually more popular than he's been in a really, really long time, selling much better. And that's including the fact that he's got several more books than he's really ever had before. So either way, Spawn is the new hotness. Go figure. It's like the 90s all over again. Moving over to trades. Now, the trades are starting to dry up a little bit. We're still getting 4, 5, sometimes 6 on a week, but not as many as we used to because paper shortages are definitely becoming an issue. Either way, we get the Batman Scooby-Doo mysteries. This is a good one because they solve a lot of mysteries. Who does the solving? Well, that would be Shaggy and Scooby. Batman just rides along on the coattails, or I guess in this case, collar tails. So if you're looking for a good gift for a younger wannabe comic fan, you just can't do much worse. No, you just can't do much better. Probably couldn't do much worse either, but you can't do much better than this one. It's Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries. It's out in convenient trade paperback form, and it's getting late, so we'll see how I do. Because I only have 3 more to talk about. Can I make it? Nope, I can't make it in under 10 minutes, but Hey, Amazing Spider-Man, this is the Junior Marvel Masterworks series. This is going to be, I believe, the next 10 issues of Spider-Man. And hey, it is the fabulous, long-awaited return of Dr. Octopus. And that was in issue number 11, people. 11. Time moved so much slower back then. So if you want to return to those days when time didn't pummel us like a sledgehammer, this is the way to do it. So Steve Ditko, Stan Lee, classic Spider-Man goodness. If you hadn't read these stories, you really need to. Look for them in the Epic collections, or these little Masterworks are a slightly smaller trim size. Great for young readers. Two more books that I will mention, both Epic collections. We get Conan. Now, this actually has the Billet Saga, not up to the level of the early Roy Thomas, Barry Windsor Smith issues for Conan, but second to that, probably a kind of a minor high point for the Conan, especially the early Marvel years, now in a big, thick, massive Marvel Epic collection goodness, as is Avengers. Was this Tom DeFalco? I don't remember. These are the issues that I basically stopped reading. But either way, if you like your Marvel in big, thick chunks, and who doesn't, these Epic collections are definitely the way to do it. I really do. I do approve of these. I think this is, I would like to see them keep these in print, but they really are not. You can generally count on the early ones to be kept in print, but a lot of these others, buy them when you see them, folks, because they can't keep all of this stuff available all the time. So if you want to keep your collection going, you got to do these now. Okay, well, it's that kind of day. It's the first Wednesday in December, people. I hope you're going to have a great month. You know, I'm going to bring up something I haven't done in a really long time, and that is the 3 S's: like, subscribe, and share. It actually does help us out. The more this spreads, then the more views I get, and the more likely I am to continue doing them. So whatever, have a great, great December. Hopefully you will have terrific holidays ahead, and 2022 won't sledge us down any more than we're expecting. So we'll see. We've got a few weeks before that happens. Folks, stay safe, and remember, it's not about having what you want. It's about wanting what you have. Take care, everybody.